Okay.
Practice.
Okay, one last thing. You guys have to tell me about this because I was cracking up. Tell me the events surrounding you guys getting searched for 6 hours in Switzerland.
Do you want the long story or the short story?
Give me the long story. Give me the long story, baby.
All right. Where do we begin? Our former European agent was going through some difficulties with his company. He could not provide us with our airfares to Europe. So we, secured our own flights over. But there was a mix-up with the bank, and our flights were refunded. And so we get to the airport, we do not have flights. Now we have to buy flights the day we're leaving, which is obviously 10 times more expensive, So while our manager is online trying to find flights, we have nothing better to do. So Lee and I go to the TGI Fridays in the airport. And we meet this military guy on his way to deployment somewhere, and he has a bottomless credit card. And we proceed to just start drinking tequila, and on an inhuman level. I mean, even if I tried to match it today, yesterday, the day before it happened, I could have never done it. I don't know how, because 20 shots in, I was standing perfectly rail still and coherent and walking outside to have a cigarette, no problem. Some girl comes and drinks a couple of drinks with us at the bar. A couple hours go by. She leaves to catch a flight to Hawaii. We get the call from our manager. We can come check into our new flights now. It's like, 5 in the evening. We're standing up perfectly, appearing to be sober. We see a stretcher leaving the gate. It's her on her way to the hospital, all right? She drank with us for 2 hours. Our flight isn't until 11:30. It's 5. We drink from, we've already been drinking like 2.5 hours. We drink from then straight till we get on the plane. And Lee just is...
You're hosed. You're hosed.
But I'm still walking 2 miles outside to, a mile, whatever, to go have a cigarette every now and then. But we stop at the bar right next to the gate, and we have one last, 3-finger shot of Patron. And Lee, though, downs, chug-a-lugs, the Long Island iced tea. I get to my seat. I'm hammered. But I get there, and I'm fine. Everybody around me just thinks I probably stink like tequila, and they don't like me, and they're not looking forward to flying to Europe with me. But I'm there. I would have been passed out in 5 minutes. Lee comes in the plane like a bull in a china shop, and he's just falling on everybody. Falls right on this lady's lap. He's like, ah! So they're not going to let him fly. But, we eventually they say he can fly. The lady whose lap he fell on says, no way. I'm not flying if he's on the plane, so they tell him he can't fly. I get up, irate, just, what the effing shit you talking about? And this Russian jumps up and tells me to watch my language. He's got children, and I flip him off and tell him what he could do with it, and he hits me right in the nose. And so we're fist fighting on the airplane. I got a bloody nose, blood all over.
And you haven't even left.
We haven't left the gate. And then
You're still in the Bay Area.
Yeah. And so Jack's leaving. He's going home. And, they think they're going to take Lee to the drunk tank. The guy hit me first, so I could have pressed charges, but I said, no, I had it coming. Let the guy go back home. I ended up taking pictures with the cops, flipping them off the camera. One of them was a fan. And so we finally get on a plane. We arrive in Zurich. We missed the show. So we fly to a festival in Spain. Our agent books us our return flight from Spain to Zurich via London, giving us a half an hour layover time, which, it takes a half hour to walk the baggage claim, and it's non-EU country. Yeah. You have to. Our flight's gone. We're stuck in England now.
I've been there.
We have to take any flight we can to get off the island. We fly to Nice, France, and wait for the bus to come get us. We sleep on benches like hobos with bottles of wine, and we finally get to Zurich. The show has obviously been missed, and we're on the bus. It's our merch girl's birthday. She's wasted on the ground outside at sunup. The cops come. They look like 90210 cops. They're all 25 and blonde, and they raid our bus for hours. And I'm outside. I don't even have socks on. They won't let me get any. They find Jack's pot cookie. But the funny part was Jack takes over to Europe pre-measured Ziplocs of laundry detergent. So they open it up and they find what appears to be a fat couple of ounces of cocaine. Aha. And they one guy pumps his fist, just yes, we got it. I'm gonna make captain now. And we just by this time,
did he taste it?
No, they had a mobile drug testing thing.
That would have
The
been
dogs,
great,
you know. But
Rubbing
we'd
it on his gut.
yeah, all foaming up, you know. We had been outside so long that the mood had lightened, you know. At first, they had the dogs, and they're like, don't you try to run. Where the hell fuck am I going to go, all right? And by then, they pull out the laundry detergent. We're on the ground laughing. Just test that shit. That's all grade A Tide, you know. And they test it, and they're like, no, they're all dejected. And finally, you know, by the time they let us go, I asked the female one if she'd take me out for a hamburger, but she looked like she would, but she wouldn't.
I still have my ticket from the Swiss police for the drug possession.
Oh, you had a pot cookie and they just gave you a ticket?
Now they found weed and hash in my pocket too.
And it was just a ticket?
Yeah, me and Nick Barker both had weed on us. And
Here we
You're
go.
very serious about your soap consumption.
Can you see that?
well, you know, when you gotta go do laundry, you just
A Swiss ticket for marijuana and hash. Amazing. Amazing.
So, within about a 36-hour span, we'd consumed about $600 worth of tequila. I'd gotten a fight with a Soviet citizen on an airplane. We slept, passed out on the floor of an airport. Then we flew to our destination. We're stranded in England, stranded in Nice, France. Raided and searched for about 5 hours in Zurich, and we had played one show.
Was it worth it? You have a great story to tell.
Fuck yes. My only regret is we didn't publicize it enough, because I always said rock and roll doesn't have enough bad behavior in it anymore.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, baby.
Izzy Stradlin pissed in the aisleway of an airplane. That's the kind of shit that's supposed to happen.
Yeah, they did
They
it.
arrested him the second it landed. But, you know, hey, you know, I just wish we could have got a little more publicity out of it.
You need to spin that into good things.
Yes, yes, we will.
Yeah.
What venue did you play last night? Where?
The Rock in Minneapolis.
Was that pretty good?
Yeah, it was good. You know, and the night before in Mokina, outside of Chicago, was best show of the tour, which resulted in a near riot.
Besides tonight, because tonight's going to be the best show, right?
We're
gonna rock the fuck out.
I'll do my part. I'll do my best, for
I'll
sure.
be out there rocking out.
All right.
sure.
Sweet.
So I think that's it, guys. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming on the show, and we'll rock out in a little bit. Peace out.
Hi, we're Exodus, and you're watching Invoke the Metal with Jordan.